You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Hi everybody, this is Thad. I just wanted to give you a heads up that the quality on this episode may not quite be what you're used to from this podcast. We had originally had a conversation about this episode with a guest, but due to technical difficulties, we were unable to record that correctly here, so the final conversation will be between Chrissie and me, and there will be maybe some editing weirdness that causes it to sound a little strange for the conversation. I do sincerely apologize for that, and don't worry, the guest that we had originally scheduled will be back at a later episode, so you are not missing out on that.
Infinite diversity.
Live long and prosper, and welcome to Infinite Diversity, a Star Trek Universe podcast, here on the BQN Podcast Collective. I'm your host for today, Thad, and joining me as always is my co-host, Chrissie. How are you today?
I'm not bad. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to deal with this extra personality in my head, which one of us actually gets to take over, Usual kind of thing.
I would say go with the nicer one and not the asshole.
I'm trying. I'm really trying. Yeah.
Aren't we all?
Yes. All right, and Thad, how are you doing today?
I'm okay. Getting a little annoyed at all the other people at the career fair making fun of my job, but other than that, pretty good.
I hate it when they do that. Career fairs, sucks anyway, Nobody ever gets a job from a career fair. I mean, nobody ever intends to get a job from a career fair. People do.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that, but it's not your first choice, generally.
No, that's where you go when you haven't been able to find another job.
Yeah. Listeners, I have to apologize to my co-host here because I asked him to get up early, and then I forgot to show up at the right time.
It's all right.
I'm publicly apologizing here.
It's all right, I guess. I mean, there are a few things that I'll willingly get up early for, but talking about Star Trek is one of them. That's
true. Yeah. And it was 10. It wasn't like I asked you to get up at 4 or something, so,
Yeah, I would have just said no. I mean...
Well, I wouldn't have suggested it. I don't want to talk to anybody at 4 a.m.
Before we jump into our topic for the day, we'd like to take a moment to thank our Patreon patrons who make our show possible, particularly our associate producers, Carl Wonders, Justin Oser, and Chrissie.
Yeah.
Listeners, you can hear your name listed as one of our associate producers for a monthly subscription of just $10 at patreon.com/BQN. And with a monthly Patreon subscription of just $5, you can join our meetings of the Hive Mind on the second Saturday of each month. Watch your Patreon messages for details. Okay, we have some sad news this week. Looks like yesterday, right before as we were preparing to record this for today, looks like Louise Fletcher, who is most known to Star Trek fans for playing Kai Wynn on DS9, passed away. She was 88, I believe?
I think so, yeah.
Which, that's a fairly good life. She was fantastic. She played a character that you loved to hate. Just an excellent villain, and just so... I don't know if there's any characters on Star Trek that filled me with so much rage as Kai Wynn.
Even Gul Madred, you didn't see enough of,
Yeah.
There's rage in that moment, but it's a two-parter and it's over. And then, but yeah.
Well, because Gul Madred, you're like seeing that character. That character is portrayed as an evil person.
Yeah.
So that's the sort of thing you expect from him. Kai Wynn, the reason that Kai Wynn is so frustrating and you hate her so much is that she's supposed to be on the right side.
Yeah.
But she's not, doing the things that she should be doing. And she plays it so well. It's just fantastic. Just excellent performance, and she will certainly be missed.
Yeah. Yeah.
On a happier note, we had an episode of Star Trek Lower Decks this week.
Yes.
And a lot happened this week. Some interesting additions to the Lower Decks ongoing story.
Mm-hmm.
Chrissie, what did you think this week?
I thought it was a good episode in that it mixed some very serious things with some very comedic things, because it is a bit of a jolt to go from, Rutherford is going to have to race himself to figure out who takes over his body, and then jump over to, the Starfleet at the career fair. So I liked that. It gave it the right amount of lower decksness. It wasn't all serious.
Yes. A completely 100% serious Lower Decks episode without jokes would be bad, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Only if they did like a live action episode. That would work.
Yes.
But.
And I think we definitely are seeing this season, some last season and even more this season, that Lower Decks is getting more serious than when it started, I think. The stories are no longer just non-stop jokes. They're actually diving into these characters and giving us character stories and actual very Star Trek stories. I think this episode and a lot of the rest of this season has really shown us, I think the show has really found niche and continuing on, and I think this is Lower Decks at what it's supposed to be. I think the show is matured and is now, this is the sort of story that we're going to see going on, or at least I hope we will.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the funny part before we get to the more serious part.
Yeah.
The Starfleet career fair, just so much happening there. Just the references.
Alone, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, Alex Perry did the write-up on Trek Core. And he has a section for the canon connections, as usual, and it is extremely long.
It's almost longer than the actual review.
Yeah, because there is so many little tiny references. The most deep cut thing that I honestly can't believe they even did, it's ridiculous, is Mariner yells out, trying to get people to come to the booth, saying, "Prepare yourself for Warp 10 excitement," which was the tagline on the back of the novelization of Star Trek II.
Yeah.
Yes!
Yeah. And this is why we love Lower Decks.
I love that they had one of those, like, stick your head in the photo op things of Kirk and Spock drawn in TAS style. That was great. Complete with Spock ears sticking out.
Yes. Yes. And I have to wonder if they couldn't get the actress who played Vash to do the voice, and that's why they made up another character who was pretty much Vash.
That's an interesting thought. I hadn't even considered that.
Well, if you look at the picture, all they really would have had to do is make her hair blonde.
Yeah, I wonder how the museum managed to steal the Grand Nagus' staff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the British Museum stole a lot of stuff.
Well, yeah, but I'm not sure. I don't think the Ferengi or the Federation is colonizing the Ferengi here.
Quark might disagree with you on that with Rom as the Grand Nagus now, but that's a whole other story. I mean, you can buy root beer on Ferenginar now, so...
It is insidious, just like the Federation.
Mm-hmm.
So, one thing that I thought was just really a sort of funny double joke there was, so you have the conspiracy theory people.
Yes.
There's a whole booth for conspiracy theories, and I love that one of the conspiracy theories they bring up is the plot to the TNG episode that's literally called Conspiracy.
Yes. And Mariner knows that actually happens.
Like, yeah, I mean, now, to be clear, they go in through the back of the neck, not the butt. But...
I mean, close enough.
Butt bugs.
Yeah, that was beautiful. And that's not the first time that they have brought in conspiracy theorists, which also makes me very happy, because it's that...
Yeah. James is not real, the Dominion War never happened.
Yeah. That is a way that they can reflect on one of the absolute absurdities and yet dangerous aspects of modern culture that the other series would not be able to do in that way. Because they would be dealing with, like, oh no, this is conspiracy theorist who's done something very serious and we have to deal with them. And that is something, that is a story that needs to be told, because I don't know if you saw, Alex Jones is now refusing to say that he did anything wrong in court to the Sandy Hook parents, but or no, he didn't say, he said he was tired of apologizing. Like, oh, whatever. Anyway, point being, conspiracy theorists are dangerous.
Yes.
But they are dealing with it in such a way, in the way that conspiracy theorists should be dealt with, which is just ignore them. And yeah. So I really like that that's an ongoing element. Didn't even bring it down with Alex Jones, sorry.
That's all right. As long as you're not trying to, bring it up with Alex Jones.
Oh, gods, no.
But yeah, you mentioned Vash. Even if the character was not meant to be Vash, we did still get a Captain's Holiday reference, because there was a Vorgon in the crowd. So
yes,
that was cool. And we also had an Antedian, which are the fish people that Mick Fleetwood played in TNG.
A lot easier to do in animation. Don't have to put on any makeup for anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, there was so much. I loved. So the Collectors Guild. We had already been introduced to the existence of the Collectors Guild in an earlier Lower Decks episode, and we knew the Collectors from TNG. But I thought it was really cool that in this case, the two people from the Collectors Guild were the same species as the two Collectors we saw in TNG. Because it was.
Oh yeah.
It was the same species as can't think of the character's name. The guy that abducts Data, and then he had brought in his friend to see it. His friend was called Paylor Toff.
What's his name?
Kivas Fajo. That was his name.
Yes.
Yeah, he brought in his friend Paylor Toff. I don't think we ever learned the name of his species to check it. I remember Paylor Toff, that name, because I had his card from Star Trek, the Star Trek CCG as a kid. So I always remember Paylor Toff. Kivas Fajo was a Zabalian.
Okay.
But I thought that was a cool little thing. I mean, obviously, there are collectors of any species. You don't have to be any particular species to be a collector. And we saw a different collector in Keishon, His Eyes Open? Was it Keishon, His Eyes Open? Was that the name of the episode? Yeah. But I thought this was a nice little reference, as Lower Decks is wont to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And having, I mean, that is, there's always, career fairs, I don't think there's ever the intention of anybody giving a predatory vibe, but there's always somebody that does.
Oh, yeah.
So I like that, because it's, the collectors just feel predatory. Because they are.
And then, after all of the other booths just constantly mock them, but Mariner can't do anything because she was ordered to stay in the booth or she'll get sent to Starbase 80. I love that it's Boimler that snaps.
Yeah.
And then he just starts yelling all sorts of stuff. One of my favorite parts there, though, is when he yells, "The Doctor didn't spend 7 years in the Delta Quadrant for you to question his agency." And it's like, at what point does that even apply in any of this, other than to be just a ridiculous line for him to say?
Yeah. He's in that rage where you're not even really paying attention to what you're saying. It's just like, this is all of the things that ever have made me angry, and I'm going to bring them up now. And I do love, you'd all be dead if it weren't for Starfleet.
Yes.
And then, Yeah.
We don't want to help you. We want to be studying anomalies.
Yes.
Yeah, and then another great line that I did notate when I was watching it, because we've definitely had this conversation here on Infinite Diversity before, was when the archaeologist says, "Yeah, you guys totally aren't a pseudo navy at all," because we've definitely talked about whether or not Starfleet is a military organization. Just because is that a Starship is Landing mug, Chrissy?
No, it's Star Trek Day from a few years ago. I'm not going to spend any money on that Starship is Landing. Shit, that's ridiculous. That better be going somewhere. Because if it's not, and I don't think it actually is, but if it's not...
I'm very curious to see what it is next week, though. Because so far we've had the Starship is Landing, the Enterprise is landing, and the Discovery is landing. Okay, technically Discovery did land. A crash landing is a landing. But...
and half of the Enterprise did, too.
Half of the Enterprise did. Yeah, but it's the TOS Enterprise on the
That's
graphic.
true.
And that never did land.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's in pieces on the Genesis planet before it blew up.
Never landed on the show. It did the...
Yeah.
In the Discovery novel, The Enterprise War, it lands. Or...
Yep.
Half of it lands.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
anyway,
what were we talking about?
I distracted you with my coffee mug.
Oh, right. Starfleet being a pseudo-military organization. Yeah. Because we hear time and time again that Starfleet is not a military organization, but they have all of the characteristics of one. And we definitely see through things like the Dominion War and the various Borg incursions, etc., that when the Federation needs a military, Starfleet fills that role. So I love to see Lower Decks poking fun at that whole thing about Starfleet not being a military organization. And I think that if we want to be serious about it, I think Starfleet is not solely a military organization. I think is the way to say that. Yeah. But they certainly do serve in that role when needed.
Yeah. And I like that they said Navy, because Roddenberry was in the Navy, right?
I think so.
I think it wasn't. Now that I'm saying that doesn't.
He was a pilot. I know that.
Yeah, and there wasn't an Air Force yet.
Right, but there was Army Air Corps.
Army Air Corps, yeah. I feel like that he did that with a bit of intention because he saw like that could be where it was going. You know, like we'll fight if we have to, but we're gonna, we need some organization as we, explore space, and this is a logical way to do it. So
Roddenberry was in the Army Air Corps.
Army Air Corps, okay. Excuse me. That's because they had the pilots spread out. There were some that were Navy and some that were
Army. Well, that's still how it is today. The Air Force, the second largest Air Force in the world is the U.S. Navy.
Yeah, but
after the U.S. Air Force.
Yes. Where does Space Force fall into that? Yeah. Right. So pseudo Navy. I like that.
One of the things I just love about Lower Decks is that they, in addition to poking fun at everything and referencing everything, they will also make fun of the entire concept of Star Trek at the same time, and I love that.
Yes.
So, we also have the more serious, more interesting is the wrong word, but we have the more serious plot, the A plot, I suppose we could say. Rutherford. We had been teased earlier in way back in season 2 about how there is something behind Rutherford's implant, and we get a lot more about that this week because we get split personality Rutherford here.
Yeah.
Wow, Rutherford was obnoxious when he was the first year in the academy. Like,
yeah.
like,
that's
I
terrible.
get Like, I get that people are different at different periods of their time, but periods of their life, but that's like a completely different personality.
Well, it's because of the implant that it changed, I think. It feels intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine wanting to be friends with the old Academy Rutherford? He just seems like such a dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas,
but he likes pears.
He does like pears. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I love the continuing through the continuing thing throughout the series of Shax referring to Rutherford as Baby Bear.
Yes,
it's so cute.
I love that. And doesn't he call him Papa Bear or something, Rutherford?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And I like that they figured out very quickly that he wasn't himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you have to do that in a half an hour, but still. Yeah.
You know that, Baby Bear, unless that's not you. Yeah.
I felt like old Rutherford had a very Nick Locarno feel. Maybe a little Tom Paris, but more Nick Locarno. Mm-hmm. And that kind of just edge to him that is unnecessary.
Yeah.
Or unnecessarily mean might not be the right word, but yeah. I mean, he feels like somebody that would not stay at the academy. You know, he feels like somebody that would have washed out just by virtue of how he functioned around other people.
Yeah, because he wouldn't respect the chain of command, etc., etc., and he certainly wouldn't play well with others.
Oh, gods, no.
But I do like that we get the whole tapestry scene with them in the white background, and they're gonna fight to see who gets control of the body, and they're gonna have a race.
Mm-hmm.
And I love everything about this because for me, the Delta Flyer is one of my favorite ships in Star Trek. So I was super thrilled to see that and to see Rutherford have so much love for it, and it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
And watching them do the race through the neutral zone. And that Rutherford wins because he has his friends and to help him. And yeah, it's so good.
Yes.
With the racing outfits from Voyager. Yes.
Mm-hmm. That was beautiful. And it was the Delta Flyer, too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just... Yeah. I think we're supposed to get another clue about old Rutherford from that he was, as if you couldn't tell already from the way he acted, but he was very independent to a point of it being detrimental.
But he was apparently working for some higher up Starfleet person.
Was he? Or did they take an opportunity with a kid whose brain had gotten damaged?
No, because they said this was setting back their program, so...
Oh, you're right.
He was doing something for them. What? I don't know. Hopefully we'll find out. Probably next season, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't see them coming back. That makes me wonder if the terrible personality is the manipulated one. You know?
Okay. That's possible.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out, because the vague uniform that we see is the TNG uniform with the collar and the old comm badge, the original comm badge. So that's between, I was just looking up the dates here, it's 2366 to 2371.
Yes.
Okay, so if what we're seeing with Rutherford is in 2371, the last possible time for that, and he spends 4 years at the Academy, that means he's been 5 years into Starfleet and he's still an ensign.
That's still a better track record than Harry Kim.
Still, yes, but okay. It's just, you know, I'm just putting that out there because I was trying to figure out how old everybody is.
Also, does that make Boimler the youngest?
I think so. Well, we don't know how old Tendi is.
But she was a pirate before she was a she joined Starfleet, so we don't know how old she was when she went to the academy.
Yeah. And actually, I'm trying to remember, do we know that she did any pirating, or she just had the title? Maybe it's an inherited title.
That's also possible. Okay.
Yeah.
So Tendi could be, okay. But
Tendi might be younger, but I would tend to think she wouldn't be, because she's got medical training behind her, which would be in addition to or
yeah, that probably takes
to.
Longer in the academy.
Yeah. Or she went into the academy with the nursing degree. So, don't know.
Yeah.
Baby Bold Boimler, though, works for me.
Well, I think Boimler is definitely younger than Rutherford based on this information.
Yes.
And
no question
they're all
there.
younger than Mariner, I think. Because Mariner's portrayed as someone who's been in Starfleet for quite some time and just is still an ensign because she's Mariner.
Yeah, she wants to be. That's
Yeah. Because we know Mariner was on DS9 during the Dominion War, so that was...
Right.
Even though that never happened.
Right. It was a conspiracy. Anyway, but if it wasn't 2371 that we saw, then there's even a larger gap, and he's older than we think, and so then that begs the question of what was happening during that time.
Do you think perhaps there was time period in between after he had the surgery when he went back to the academy?
That's quite possible. Yeah.
So you think he started over?
All right. Well, that accounts for. Did they say he was? Yeah, he was a first-year cadet.
Yes.
They said that explicitly. Yeah. Okay. So that accounts for an extra year, maybe. And the time in between. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whatever took him to recover. This is a nice little mystery. I'm looking forward to getting information on this and enjoying the speculation in the meantime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely picked up on the TNG uniform. I hadn't specifically thought about the years, but yes, that does make sense. And yeah, because we know that they continued to use that TNG uniform on some ships well into DS9, but they all switched to the newer Voyager-style comm badge in 2371.
Yeah.
This does... I like that we get a in-universe canon explanation for why Rutherford has so many issues with his implant.
Yes.
It was because old Rutherford was trying to assert control, and that's why he liked pears for a week.
Mm-hmm. After he had to have the implant replaced.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I have to go back and watch the first episode, because I feel like they made some inference there that he had just had it installed. And maybe they did, and now they're just, ignoring that.
I had remembered that as well, but maybe, they may have, they're probably retconning that.
Yeah. Or he says it's just a new implant, so I guess you could...
He could have replaced his existing.
Have a new one. Yeah.
Well, Star Trek never retcons itself.
No. The continuity is exactly what it needs to be from the very beginning. And it always reconciles. Yep.
All right. So... do we have any other big plot points or anything from these episodes that we want to cover? Or this episode that we want to cover?
I don't think so. I had a tough time putting together the outline because I was like, wait, what else happened?
Yeah.
Nothing. Oh, Boimler does end up in the brig for the first time.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I like that he, because did you notice that, like, the graffiti on the wall? Because it has Mariner's Castle written there, and then Boimler had written beside it, Boimler's Guest House.
Yes. I didn't see what it said, but I saw that he had drawn something, and I loved it. Okay, cool. Boimler's Guest House.
And Mariner says, okay, I gotta go. I guess I have to do the log. And Boimler's just, oh, that's my favorite part.
Why can't he do the log in the brig? He could do the log in the brig.
That's a very good question.
What else is he going to do?
So we could get the scene of the archaeologist messaging Mariner.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Yeah. I think that we're going to see that again. Obviously,
yeah, I think she'll be back.
Setting up for that.
Shame we didn't get to see the Grand Nagus. That would have been awesome.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we will. I mean...
maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. At some point. It's not like Max Skrzydczak is not around, so...
It's true.
To do voices.
I mean, he lives in Austria, but he can record voices there.
I didn't know he lives in Austria. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. The ship that angry Angry Rutherford makes is named after the state flower of the Philippines or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I read that somewhere. And I should say Eugene Cordero's Filipino, so that's why that's relevant. Yeah.
And Angry Rutherford has a bit of a Filipino accent, I believe.
I didn't pick up on that.
He sounds like he's got a bit of an accent compared to current Rutherford. It may just be that he's speaking in a different voice, but it just sounds a bit like an accent to me.
No, that makes sense. That would be something that would be manipulated by the implant, potentially. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or actually the fact that he was so injured. Changed the vocal cords and such. I want to know more about this.
We'll find out eventually.
Right now, I want to know more about this. All the speculation. Okay. I feel like maybe if they feel like dragging it out a little bit, they'll throw a few flashbacks in over the next few episodes. We only have, 4 episodes left?
5 episodes left.
5 episodes left. Okay.
No, 4. Yeah, no, 5. This was the 5th episode, so there's 5 left.
Okay. It's all canon connections. We always have the canon connections towards the end of the outline, listeners. And with Lower Decks, it's really just we talk about it through.
Constant, so. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so yeah, I don't think we're going to get Rutherford next week because next week, based on the Ready Room with Will Wheaton, they showed us an image from next week, not even a full trailer because they don't want to show spoilers, but the image is our characters on the promenade of DS9.
Yay!
So, looks like the DS9 episode that was teased in the trailer for the season is going to be next week. So...
Oh, that'll
got
be
a lot
good.
to look forward to there, but probably not Rutherford. Rutherford's going to be there, but we're not going to get Rutherford backstory.
No. There'll be too much else going on. Oh, that's good.
Okay, so that's pretty much all we have to talk about with this week's episode.
Yeah.
So, Chrissie, where can people find you when you're not flipping over tables at a career fair?
That's actually something I might do under the right circumstances. In addition to here at Infinite Diversity, you can find me on History with the Szilagyi here on BQN, that twice-weekly short history podcast I do with my fellow historian partner, Jason. And I'm also happy to chat about our shows in the BQN Collective on Facebook. And I'm on Twitter at The Goddess Livia, that's TheGoddessLivia, where I tweet about Star Trek history and leftist politics. Thad, where can people find you when you aren't pulling rank pins off of people at a career fair?
I mean, I would only do that if they had the wrong ones, but...
It's a piece of corn.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you got some schmutz on your collar there. Yeah.
Best place to find me is also on Twitter. I'm at Tyrannicus. That's Tyranicus. You can also hear me on the podcast I do with my friend Carl about the James Bond films called License to Spiel. That's license spelled with a C like the British do. And those are mostly the only places you can find me, honestly. Don't look other places. I'm not very active.
Don't bother looking or don't look.
Don't bother looking.
Could go either way.
I do not have a secret OnlyFans, if that's what you're asking.
Okay, that's not where I was going with that. But sure, good to know. Anyway.
No one wants that.
Well, don't sell yourself short, but that's... Right. Listeners, don't forget all of our other great shows here on the BQN Podcast Collective, like Galaxy Class, All Good Things, Mickey's Marvels, Union Federation, and the aforementioned History with the Szilagyi. And exclusive for our Patreon members, there's It's Green with Mark White and Amy's Math Moment. Oh, and I got to add
we need to add It's T-Bev.
Yeah.
What is it called?
What's the T-Bev?
The T-Bev? That's it, yeah.
Which he is doing both audio and video. He's got a YouTube channel with it.
Yeah.
It's worth watching on the YouTube channel, but if you just want to listen, you're not going to miss anything except pictures of his friends and him and stuff like that. So yeah, check that out as well. What's the T-Bev?
Previously on BQN. All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast.
They're feeling bad and they try to self-medicate to feel better, and that's why mental health, for example, is so important to help people cope with things so they don't turn to drugs to cope on their own. Mm-hmm. There's my Nancy Reagan moment.
There you go. See, we were raised in the DARE program.
Yeah.
Infinite Diversity, a Star Trek Universe podcast.
I love that Pike cooks with cast iron because I truly could not imagine him using any other kind of pans.
I didn't even notice that.
It's just that's a very in-character thing for him to cook on, like this, seasoned cast iron. It's probably like 300 years old, and I'm sure, yeah.
Galaxy Class, a Star Trek The Next Generation podcast.
But the biggest reason, of course, being that, Worf is undiscompensated. So his, obviously, redemption.
How would we say that?
Commendated?
Or commendated, yeah. If he was discommendated, then
Recommendated?
I accommodated.
Accommodated.
There we go.
You will find these and more of your favorite podcasts on BQN.
Thank you so much for tuning into Infinite Diversity. Thank you to Zach Tripp for the wonderful theme music and Tony Robinson for the awesome show art. Please subscribe in your favorite podcast player, and don't forget to rate and review us there as well.
If you'd like to reach out, you can find the network on Twitter at BQN Podcasts, and our show specifically at IDIC Podcast. You can also talk about any and all of the BQN podcasts in our Facebook group, the BQN Collective. When you next hear from us, we'll be talking about Lower Decks episode, Hear All, Trust Nothing. Which, given that we have now seen that it's a still from the DS9 one, that feels very DS9. So I like that.
I hope it means that we get Garrick.
Oh, I hope so. Oh, yes. All right. Well, until then, listeners, we bid you peace and long life.